Hello, Sim here. So I promised you guys I would do an Xbox Enhanced, for the One X versus the vanilla Xbox for Call of Duty. So I've captured this at 40 megabits per second. It's the highest quality I can capture it. I've not done any sharpening or post-processing whatsoever. Now, as we switch to the standard, the thing that I noticed straight away was the text just fluttering and shaking away. It's just not as smooth. Now, I've mentioned things on stream that I thought I noticed, without pixel peeping, because this is the first time you're going to get an opportunity to pixel peep. Textures were sharper, and also I noticed stuff to do with score streak maps, and therefore we're going to be looking at this sort of stuff. So, for example, this leaderboard, I never noticed it in the standard Xbox, but the Xbox Enhanced is absolutely crystal clear. It really is. And there's a field of view sort of thing, or a level of detail, depending on how far away you are from the object of interest before it sort of becomes sharp. And even though I'm relatively close here, it's still no way near as sharp as the Xbox Enhanced. So yeah, it is cool. So in a second, I tend to repeat the scenes a little bit so you can see that sort of side by side, but completely full screen, so you can pause it away and look at it and go, ooh, I can see the difference. Now, the biggest difference I noticed is when you call in your score streaks. Look at this. This is the Xbox Enhanced. Look at the enemy triangles and the death, the enemies and how big they are. Look at the comparison. They're teeny on the standard Xbox, but on the Xbox One X, they're massive. So we're going to call in the score streak in a minute, and you'll get to see all the explosions and stuff going off. And therefore, you should be able to see for yourselves what the kind of difference is. Now, I didn't notice anything too much here, but we're going to see it side by side as I just finished compiling this together. Here we go again. So this bit I didn't notice, but the thing I definitely noticed, and I said before, that I believe that the skull signs that you see are, much more clearer. So when you see skulls come up like that in front of you, they seem to be much more clearer. And so I'm using the same score streaks time and again on both Xboxes to try and give you this comparison of graphics and stuff for your own viewing pleasure to determine, yeah, okay, I can see the jump. Now, obviously, I don't own a 4K monitor, and we're going to get to see what the graphics look like as I call in the whatever it's called, the firebomb stuff that's coming in. Here we go. Cool. So I deliberately left it recording so you can see all the flames and any particle effects, as I nearly killed myself in my own score streak. Sweet. But I did exactly the same way for the next one, so you get to see that effect. So here we go again. So in a minute I'm going to be jumping to a couple of multiplayer maps that you will have. You will be familiar with these multiplayer maps. And I've deliberately slowly panned around them at certain spots to try and help you, see the difference. Especially because you don't want any fast moving, you want it all nice and slow. So here we go on good old this map that point to hook. And so the thing I noticed a lot was the quality of all the stones and pebbles and the slow ripples in the little water. Whatever you want to call it, puddles, that's the word, puddles. But stones and textures really did pop out crystal clear straight away. From my point of view, I found that the texture of the wood was much, much sharper. That's what I expected to see. And what my gut feeling was about the sharpness, it is true. But we're going to look at the standard. So the ripple effects on the water is a lot less pronounced. I was hoping that the game spawned me in the same spot, but it might not have done. But you can see there that the texture of the stones are just not popping out the same great. They're not so vivid. Well, that's what you expect. I mean, the One X is significantly more powerful, massive more RAM, lots more GPU horsepower. So here we go, you're getting to see the wooden textures again. not as sharp, and I'm sure when I was capturing it and that some of the the woods were going in and out of focus. I've got a very good clip towards the end of the video. It really demonstrates this distance blurring of textures. That's what I'm going to call it. It's probably got some very specific graphical name, so I really didn't expect to see much difference here for a very simple pattern of bricks, but hey. And here I was expecting to see some more detail and more sharper, and generally the texture is there from a greater distance. It really is. And when we get to see the tank in a minute, the sort of like the wheels, much more sharper, shinier, clearer, the patterns more blurry on the standard Xbox. You know, the lighting effects where you see the burning flames lighting on the gun, still present in the standard Xbox version. But it's the textures, to me. So I obviously haven't done side by side, because you know I'm not going to do that. I mean, I expect Digital Foundry to do a much better job than I can do, because that's their bread and butter. But I'm just trying to show you guys who are definitely interested and keen to see it, what the both Xboxes look like for this Call of Duty game. And yeah, so we're going to be moving on to another point on the map. Here we go. The radar bunker, the right hand side of. The thing that came out noticeable to me was the smoke in the background. Was a bit more pixelated. But yeah, I tried to capture the footage as more or less identical as possible. But you can see it a bit more pixelated in the background. So obviously that's, you know, further away it's going to be more pixelated. That was an observation that I definitely noticed. And in a mo, we're going to switch to another map. Here we go, Gibraltar. So the particle effects with stuff blowing around seems to be about the same, but there may be a bit more finesse and granularity in it, and sort of the texture stuff and the bits of feathers and stuff that's floating around. So we'll have to pay attention to that next time round when we bring up the standard Xbox footage in a minute. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it does look sweet, and you know, so keep an eye on the sharpness of the walls and the detail there for all the cracks and, you know, chisel away and deterioration where it comes down. But I believe that the next footage you're going to see is the game spawned me in a different place, and I was hoping to be spawned in an identical position, so you know you could get a bit more apples to apples comparison. But hopefully this gives you a flavour of the difference between the two. So you've still got stuff floating around, but I don't think it is you know, it's more blurry. It's not as high quality of these things. So the particle effects, as you expect, are going to be slightly better. But I won't be pixel peeping. I'm not qualified to do that. So yeah. But I'm really hoping these slow-mos and stuff gives you help. Here's where I realised, oh, it spawned me in a slightly different position, but I'm closer to it. But yeah, you can see that it's not the same degree. It's more blurry texture there for where all those holes and chisels were away. And that looks, again, less detail, and we're closer to the wall because of where the game spawned me. And because it's like, oh, okay, I haven't shown you the wall here, and you get to see the wall close up. So stuff when you're really close, you know, it's okay, but at a reasonable distance, it drops off quite quickly. And there's another part of the Gibraltar map that really demonstrates this. What I'm going to call texture drop off. I don't know. I can't remember what I called it earlier. This is my, you know, just a complete off the cuff commentary. I didn't expect to see any massive difference here, but you might be able to see it. But not a perceivable difference. It might be slightly sharper. I think it is slightly sharper, popping out that and looking at that. So the texture on the stairs, and you know, I just thought I'd pop up that slowly and then do exactly the same again. It's just not the same level of detail, and hopefully that comes through clearly. So here we go. Look at the quality of that rock and the texture. It's really detailed. Now also keep your eye on this Devil's Gap battery sign. So on the enhanced, it looks perfect. It's constantly in focus. It's sharp. The detail of the rock, the texture. Now look at the texture of this rock and the detail. It's not there. It's not there. But keep an eye on that battery sign on the wall, because it's going to be in focus, out of focus, in focus, out of focus. And it does that. And there you go. It dropped out. And hopefully it captures it when it goes up to YouTube. But it's like goes in and out of focus, and there you go. I've tried to hold it deliberately out of focus position. It's just not popping in at all. You see, it's totally out of focus. And move it slightly over to the right, and it should then just pop into, there you go, pops into focus. So that was very noticeable. So I'm hoping this video has been useful and informative for you guys. I really do. If you appreciate it, give me a thumbs up. As always, if you want to stay in touch with my vids, consider hitting the subscribe button. And until next time, this has been Sim.